It all boils down to what we teach our children, how we teach our children, and what they grow up to be. When we were growing up, when I was growing up anyway, we had our sense of patriotism was instilled fairly robustly. We had what we called in school GHC, which was geography, history, and civics, and there we started being taught civic education from an early stage. Most schools would have a parade where you would sing the national anthem, you would recite the national pledge, and all these other things that made you understand you're a Kenyan and have this sense of duty. Many of us also had an opportunity to interact with people who had been there when they were fighting for independence, so by the time it was our turn, we also had an idea of what it cost us to be a republic. Now we're dealing with a generation that has walked into there's nothing you're talking about tulipigania uhuru, because what are those? These are people who, by the time they were being born, forget about fighting for independence. They did not even meet President Moi as President Moi. They met him as, a former President Moi. So they don't have the shared experience that we do. And our generation has done a poor job of passing this along to this now current generation. So you find you have got a generation that have come up whose sense of patriotism and civic duty is not as defined or as sharp as it ought to be. Then you also have young people who have also become disempowered and disenfranchised by the political system. So for example, right now, if you want to run for political office, I think of the people who ran for office this year, the guys who were under 35 were just barely 20% if the KBC numbers, I got them correctly. Because one, you need a lot of money to run, where are young people getting a lot of money? So when they're looking at the people who are on the ballot, you've got people who are octogenarians. They've been there since their grandfather's time, and they're still on the ballot. Why? Because those guys have the money and the machinery to run for office. Then the young people have been paid a lot of lip service. You want them to turn up for rallies, you want them to do whatnot, you use them to organize and mobilize, but when the rubber meets the road, what do they get out of it? So you find we have got young people who have interacted with politics at a level where they don't feel it benefits them or it means as much to them. So you'll talk to some of these youngsters, and what you'll get from them is they'll choose whoever they'll choose anyway, and whoever they choose is fine. Ooh. They don't seem to have the correlation between the politics that we have in the day and how it affects their daily life. And even if they know it affects their daily life, they're like, you know what, I'll find my way around it. So it's something that we have as a society. We have to raise that sense of patriotism again, a pride in this country, because when they look around, all they see, there's a lot of debt, a lot of corruption, a lot of this, and many of them are completely disillusioned by what they have. So in my opinion, part of the reason why we find the younger people just don't care about the political process is because they feel it's actually of no use to their lives and they can maneuver around it without it. So that's something that we need to change.